that right now because many of you might find it distressing. Well, CNN spoke to witnesses who said there was a second round of gunfire later that evening. Here's what one protester who had been documenting events on Instagram Live told us.
Nigeria is a dictatorship with a democratic face. And I think that is primarily to please the international community. It is our right to protest anything that we see and change that we demand.
Well, those protests began as a movement against police brutality, but took a dark and violent turn as we reported. Nigeria is now threatening to sanction CNN and denies that security forces shot live ammunition at protesters. Well, MLB brought us that story after weeks of in-depth research and analysis by her and her team, and she joins us now from London. Nima, how has the Nigerian government responded?
Well, our reporting, Becky, has triggered their first really significant response since the events of October 20th at Lekki Toll. This is what the Government Information Minister, Al-Hajlay Mohammed, had to say about our reporting.
Like everyone else, I watched the CNN report yesterday. I must tell you that it reinforces the disinformation that is going around, and it is blatantly irresponsible and the poor piece of journalistic work by a reputable international news organization. CNN, which touted its report as an exclusive investigative report, sadly relied on the same videos that have been circulating on social media without verification. This is very serious, and CNN should be sanctioned for that.
Of course, Becky, that is simply not true. We used video and images that we were able to verify. We received them firsthand from contacts, witnesses, family members. We interviewed a family member who had been searching for his brother for days at that point, weeks. We were able to at least help provide him with some closure, which the Nigerian federal authorities had not been able to provide. The press conference was contradictory, and during the conference, the minister said that the federal government was satisfied with the actions of the military and the police on the night of October 20th. That's actually ahead of the findings of its own judicial panel, and those that we're speaking to are incredibly worried about what that means for the findings of that panel. Does that not exert pressure on the panel to exonerate members of the military and the police? Of course, all this is happening while people are still searching for loved ones. People are still grieving the ones they lost, and people are still no closer to answers, Becky.
Now, I spoke to the Lagos State Governor in the aftermath of the Lekki protests and incident. Have a listen to some of what he told me at that time. How many people died at the Lekki toll gate, and who was responsible for those deaths?
The number of deaths that we can attribute directly to the unfortunate, very horrific, very condemnable incident of last week Tuesday at Lekki were only two dead bodies.
Who ordered that peaceful protest at the Lekki toll gate?
Okay,
who ordered people to be shot, and which branch of security services carried out the shootings?
It seems to me that there will be men in military uniforms, right? It depicts that there are military uniform, and so there will be military officers, or soldiers as it were.
So you're saying that it was military officers who ordered peaceful protesters to be shot at Lekki?
Yeah, that's what
Lekki
the
toll
pictures,
gate.
yes. Well, they were there. That's what the footage, that's what it shows.
Now, this was ahead of the judicial hearing that is being promised, and I asked the governor whether he was determined that there would be accountability. He said yes. What do we know about the current status of those hearings?
Well, that interview, Becky, we understand, sent shockwaves to the very highest level of Nigeria's government. And since then, federal authorities have backtracked. The Brigadier Taiwo, who gave evidence to the judicial panel, said that the 2 deaths were deaths from blunt instruments and that those injuries were not sustained at the location at Lekki Toll. And this is what we've seen. Different factions in the government are saying different things. And none of those people on the ground who are desperate for answers are receiving them. Even today, as the Minister of Information was carrying out that press conference, the coroner in Lagos put an ad in the newspapers, in the local press, asking for family members to come and try to identify bodies, even as the information minister in Abuja was denying that there had been any deaths. It's incredibly concerning for people in Nigeria and frankly in the international community, Becky, because it worries them that there will be really any accountability. What you saw there, what you managed to extract from the Lagos State Governor, is the closest that any government official has come to admitting wrongdoing. And since then, we have reached out to Lagos State authorities and they have refused to give us any comment, Becky.
Nema Elbegir on the reporting. Nema, thank you. And a reminder, in Nigeria, thousands of young people have been protesting against police brutality as part of a largely peaceful movement. It's called End SARS, and the SARS acronym is one used for a certain police squad, as it were. But on October the 20th, these protests turned deadly as the army and police moved in on unarmed civilians. The Nigerian army has called these allegations that it fired into the crowd, as you've heard, fake news, and told a judicial panel of inquiry that it did not shoot at any civilian, but Nema's investigation can reveal that that is not true. This is Nema's report for those of you who didn't see it last night.